Another member of President Trump's cabinet is leaving the administration under a cloud of suspicion. The president announced today Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke will step down by the end of the year. Zinke is resigning in the crosshairs of multiple investigations. The White House revolving door keeps spinning, and Errol Barnett is there.
The first thing President Trump tweeted this morning was that his Interior Secretary is moving on, writing, quote, Ryan Zinke will be leaving the administration at the end of the year.
Well, I think he's done a very good job.
Last month, the president refused to fire Zinke and even defended him despite mounting investigations into his alleged misuse of power. The Interior Department's Inspector General is investigating several abusive position complaints against Zinke, referring at least one of them to the Justice Department. Last year, President Trump asked Zinke about one of the allegations against him.
He did ask Secretary Zinke just for clarification purposes.
Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said the president wanted to know more about a $300 million contract awarded to Whitefish Energy. The Montana-based company was given a lucrative power restoration deal in Puerto Rico following Hurricane Maria, despite having only 2 employees.
It will be a Congress of transparency.
Democrats were planning on investigating Zinke's actions once they take the House majority in January. The outgoing secretary released this statement today saying, quote, after 30 years of public service, I cannot justify spending thousands of dollars defending myself and my family against false allegations.
How badly do you want that job?
I don't want that job. I love the jobs that I have now. And more importantly, I think the Chief of Staff is doing a really good job. And most importantly, I think the President thinks he's doing a great job as well. I believe so.
Meanwhile, despite Budget Director Mick Mulvaney telling CBS News in February he was not interested in being President Trump's Chief of Staff, he has now been tapped for that role, with the President announcing last night outgoing Chief of Staff John Kelly would be replaced by Mulvaney on an interim basis. Now, what's interesting is Mick Mulvaney was here at the White House Friday strategizing with President Trump on ways to avoid a government shutdown when the discussion turned to Mulvaney being the next Chief of Staff. CBS News has learned that the two spoke for a second time late Friday before President Trump made his announcement, and Mulvaney will continue in his role as Budget Director. As far as who will be replacing the outgoing Interior Secretary, it's unclear yet. Zinke's number 2 is seen as the easiest choice at this moment, but a number of other prominent Republicans have been named. Dean Heller of Nevada, for example, and Scott Walker, the outgoing Wisconsin governor. President Trump says expect an announcement next week. Errol Barnett, CBS News, the White House.
Following the news that Zinke will leave the Department of the Interior by the end of the year, the Montana Conservation Voters Education Fund released the following statement from the interim executive director, Rick Potts. He says Ryan Zinke's departure from the Department of Interior is no surprise to Montanans. As the first Montanan to hold such a high position, Zinke has failed to protect the Montana way of life and embarrassed the state with his anti-public lands record and a long list of scandals. President Trump must appoint a secretary who will stand up against big corporate interests and their efforts to take over our public lands, not someone who's in bed with them. The departure from Interior may not be in Zinke's final turn in the spotlight. Reporters say that former Congressman, state legislator, and Navy SEAL Zinke had been mentioned as a potential candidate for Montana governor. In other national news, a federal judge in Texas has ruled that the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is unconstitutional. Kenneth Craig reports from New York.
The Affordable Care Act is on life support after a federal judge ruled that the law providing health insurance to millions of Americans is unconstitutional.
We're going to sign this bill.
Judge Reed O'Connor took issue with the 2010 law's individual mandate, which would tax anyone who did not get insured.
Great for our country, great for the American people. Thank you all.
President Trump's tax cut bill eliminated that provision. A lawsuit filed by 19 Republican attorneys general and a Republican governor argued that since the penalty had been eliminated, Obamacare was no longer constitutional. Judge Reed agreed, writing the penalty can no longer be fairly read as an exercise of Congress's tax power. President Trump praised the decision.
It was a big ruling, it's a great ruling for our country. We'll be able to get great health care. We'll sit down with the Democrats if the Supreme Court upholds. We'll be sitting down with the Democrats, and we will get great health care for our people.
But Democrats, including incoming Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, vowed to fight to save former President Barack Obama's signature legislation. Both sides agree that people with pre-existing conditions need protection. The ruling came down on the day before the end of enrollment for the program's 2019 recipients. The latest battle over Obamacare will likely end up in front of the Supreme Court. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
Back here in Billings, just north of Billings, fire crews put out a grass fire last night. It happened a little before 5 p.m. near Alkali Creek Road, northwest of Skyway Drive. The fire burned 136 acres, according to Fuego Volunteer Fire Company Chief Mark Osborne. A country bulldozer cut around the fire to contain it around 7:30 p.m. Osborne said a county-wide call went to fire departments. Several crews, including Billings, responded, and fire crews left the scene around 9 p.m. And joining me now is meteorologist Connor Pregitzer. It's the middle of December, and usually there's snow on the ground, and there's fire last night.
Yeah. It's certainly something we don't associate with winter, being grass fires or wildfires, but our conditions are unseasonable as well, and we have to take that into account, that fire concerns can crop up in the winter if conditions are right, and conditions clearly have been here. As we take a look at some of those things that we are looking for, low relative humidity, same as in the summer, except the winter air, by virtue of being a little bit colder, can actually be even drier. You need that dry vegetation that fuels the fire. No snow cover is a huge part of that, as Zoe mentioned there for us. And so some of the conditions have been right. The other thing we're talking about, sustained winds. We've noticed it. It's been breezy here recently, and especially in the afternoons. These fire concerns are persisting. The National Weather Service has actually issued a bit of a discussion for us for these concerns for the next week. So again, it's a time to be careful, even though it's not necessarily the time of year we normally associate with fire concerns. I'll talk more about our weather coming up in a bit.
Thanks, Connor. Well, today across the nation, Americans honored veterans for National Race Across America Day. Families honored veterans at the Yellowstone National Cemetery. Wreaths Across America provides a chance to remember, honor, and teach. Volunteers placed nearly 360 wreaths next to the headstones. The ceremonies took place at 1,400 cemeteries nationwide.
It's an honor and a show of respect and love.
He was a good man that served his country. America needs to know that we have so many heroes, unsung heroes.
He was shot down in 1968 in Vietnam. It takes a lot to preserve our freedoms in this country, and that we need to pass this on from one generation to the next.
That's why we're going to relay the wreaths, so we don't forget that people have served our country and sacrificed their lives for our country.
It's reminding everyone that our veterans mean something, that they're important to us.
The American Heritage Girl Troop MT-0412 raised money for the wreaths. Well, a tradition for more than 30 years brought Santa and Mrs. Claus to children in Lockwood today. The annual tour included several stops to deliver gifts. When the tradition started, Lockwood firefighters gave bags of apples to children, but today the gift bags are filled with more because of community support for the firefighters' cause. This Santa and Mrs. Claus have been visiting kids in Lockwood for about 15 years.
Fantastic to be able to see the community on such a happy occasion. You know, those guys at Lockwood Fire, they usually see these people at their worst moments, and this is a chance for them to get out, see their community on a really happy occasion, and that means a lot.
It brings them happiness to have that and to give them that, you know, goodie bag or treat and everything, and to be able to see Santa, you can just see a difference in them when they come up. At first they're shy, and then they're really happy when they get to do it.
Well, the normal Santa tour includes some other decorations, but firefighters had to respond to a grass fire in Lockwood today. Well, thanks for watching the 10 o'clock news here on Q2. Today, a chairlift unlike any other in the world debuted in Montana. Find out where after the break. And later in sports, it's championship night at the National Finals Rodeo. We'll show you all 7 title winners coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Zoe Zandora. Storm Tracker weather with Connor Pregitzer. and sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.